Hello, everyone. This is SFG's Start Financial Group's free meeting that I do occasionally for everybody. This one's going to focus on the driving and the a court case that I'm kind of navigating right now. Just so everybody knows, this isn't mentor group stuff, so this will be on YouTube. So, all right. So to start this off, I got a ticket probably 10 months ago for, I don't know, failure to yield or failure to obey traffic. That's the thing in New York. Like they just have this like catch all ticket they write you, which is failure to obey a traffic device, for whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. So that, they ticketed me for that and then I sent it in and whatever. So I'm going to show you what I did. Hold on. It all disappeared. Recent. Somebody uh somebody posted about 5 books on Facebook. And so right before the meeting, I went through this like crash course of importing 5 books into my chat GPT. If you guys haven't done this, I don't care what AI program you use, start taking all these books and you upload them into the AI, and then you just write on there, please read and commit to memory. And start building your library in your chat in your AI. Because once you get your library built up, there's nothing you can't do. Like you don't even need a lawyer anymore because it does everything. So, um, okay, we're gonna start here. This is the driving stuff, okay? Um, so the first thing I'm gonna tell you, and I'm just gonna put this out here, is that if you have a revoked or suspended license, do not try and use the right to travel. The problem is that you can't, everything that I teach, equity, is always coming with clean hands, right? In order to do equity, you have to be equity, right? So you have to be an equitable man or woman in order to be able to claim it, right? So coming with clean hands means you don't show up to court with a suspended license and say, I have the right to travel, because you have to be in honor to begin with. So once you get in honor and you have a valid driver's license, you can rescission it and then use the right to travel, right? So when you get to that point, this is what you do. This is mine, right? So here is the um, secured party declaration and notice, sovereign right to operate a private vehicle. Okay. Here it quotes all the case laws. Um, Talks about license, what a license means, goes through everything in this. Okay. And then at the end of it, it's notarized, and then that goes on the record. And then notice of right to travel on the highways in Georgia, because I live in Georgia. So I got this, an affidavit, and then I created my own private surety bond, 5 million. So whenever I'm doing anything in my vehicles that I have an MCO on, I carry this in there. This is the insurance policy. Sovereign authority, affidavit, which this is redundant stuff, is the other stuff I put in here. You don't have to do all this crap. It's just kind of what I've done is that as I went through this stuff, I just kind of did everything, right? And I just was like, oh, this works, this doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. So just take whatever it is that works for you and put it on the record and use it. If it doesn't work for you, don't use it. Okay. So, public notice, claimant of fact, and peaceful inhabitants just means that I'm doing all this stuff in peace. I'm not an enemy of the state. Right. And then this is notice of appointment of this is the executor letter everybody's talking about. Oh, do the executor letter and get your full accounting. Yeah, I did it. It's here. So most of this stuff is redundant. Certificate of trust, right? Most of the stuff is redundant. It's not really stuff that you have to do, but it's what I've done, right? So this is what's called, this is a driving. And then I file everything with Pima County. If you need to know about this, you can go on their website, Pima County Recorder. This is in Arizona. They'll literally record any document that you want. So, so that's what's up with that. So now I'm gonna go here. All right. All right. So I got this letter. Hold on. Right. I got this letter. It was on February 4th. This is weird. Um, Pre-trial conference, first appearance, proper attire. The court accepts your not guilty plea. I didn't plea, right? The court accepts your not guilty plea. You have been scheduled for a pre-trial conference at the time and date shown above. If you plan to be represented by an attorney, he or she should accompany you to this conference. Blah, 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 right? So I didn't plea anything. Yeah, here it is. Disobey traffic device. It's fucking funny. New York sucks. Anyway, so I sent this registered mail, Ulster Court. So I sent these four documents. Okay. Demand for certified proof of plea entry. Okay. So they say I offered a plea. Show me where I did that. Okay. So then I did a affidavit of non-consent and certification of record. Um, So this is an affidavit, okay? This is a pleading, right? This is a demand, and this is the affidavit. An affidavit, understand that in equity, what we do and what I teach is equity is paperwork in judges' chambers. It's not court. It's not going in a suit and tie and arguing with the judge. There are things that we will do that on that level. But for what you're talking about in equity, if you want to be an equitable man or woman, it's paperwork in judges' chambers. It's not standing in court. Okay. So here's my demand. Here is my affidavit. This is my sworn statement. I did not plea. Okay. And then notice of opportunity to cure and notice of inability to appear and request for an adjournment or remote appearance, right? So their response to it was, Mr. Stark, your case is still on the calendar for the Thursday, the 26th. If you wish to enter a not guilty plea, you may. But the case is on the calendar and failure to appear or failure to enter a written guilty plea or not guilty plea will result in license suspension. So that's coercion, right? Are you following this? You either have to be in court or you have to submit in writing a not guilty plea. Well, it's my right to not plea, right? I am not an artificial person. I am not going to plea anything. So this is how New York ropes you into this whole thing, right? So my response, of course, was snappy. I can't make it to court. So either you need a video conference or something like that, and it's against New York state law to take a driver's license for not appearing in court. And the letter that you sent me says the 28th, right? Um, Town court in New York are the biggest joke I have ever seen. If you do not give me another court date, I will file an appeal. If you do not give me an appeal, then I will file an Article 78 with the Supreme Court, which is a writ of mandamus. Okay? A writ of mandamus is where a court directs a lower court to do their job, right? So if you ever get a clerk that isn't filing your paperwork, just contact me and I'll tell you how to do a writ of mandamus, right? So then I sent a motion. So this is the first group of things I sent, and that was their email back. And then I sent a motion. I was like this. Notice dismissed for lack of jurisdiction and objection to jurisdiction. Please take notice that the defendant hereby moves the court for an order dismissing the above referenced matter for lack of personal jurisdiction and for such other further relief as the court deems just and proper. This motion is made pursuant to CPL 170.30 and the court's inherent authority to determine the jurisdiction before the proceeding. Motion, defendant appearing specifically and or especially and without waiver of rights as follows, right? Do you guys know what a special appearance is?
Yes.
Right. Other than like as opposed to what they call a general appearance, right? A general appearance would be you standing in court. A special appearance is this.
Is a special appearance when you come in as another title?
No, it says you come in as the paperwork,
Got you.
right? The paperwork appears. That's a special appearance, right? Like, what's the difference between a general deposit and a special deposit, right? A general deposit is a public deposit, and a special deposit is a private deposit, right? So you can special deposit anything into the court, birth certificate, whatever, right? So that's what happens when you get a court case and you appear, right? Is that you have just generally deposited your birth certificate, right? But what we want to do is specially deposit it, right? So jurisdiction must be established as a matter of law before the court may proceed. Defendant objects to the exercise of personal jurisdiction in this matter, and the court must demonstrate a lawful basis of asserting jurisdiction over the defendant. Jurisdiction cannot rest upon presumption and must affirmatively establish the record. Defendant does not waive any jurisdictional objections by filing this motion. Wherefore, the defendant respectfully demands a determination on the record establishing that the statutory and factual basis of personal jurisdiction, production of the accusatory instrument, and proof of lawful service sufficient to establish jurisdiction. C, dismissal of the matter if jurisdiction cannot be established, right? So I sent that. Here is the response. Mr. Stark, your case will be rescheduled to a new date, and the notice will be mailed to the address in Greenville, New York. Thanks. All right, so what happened? Why did she change her tune so quick?
Is that because you denied them jurisdiction?
Right. But why? What
You
did I
stayed in your
do?
box.
What did I do to deny their jurisdiction?
You stayed in your box.
You came as the
The
trust.
authorized representative.
Right. Not as the surety. Because the surety has an obligation. Right? But when you come as the beneficiary, you're not assured. You're not guaranteeing you are the one that's supposed to be taken care of. Right? The difference between the surety, right? Because you know what a surety is? The obligor, the person that's obligated to the trust. What is a court case?
It's a constructive trust.
Yes. And so in this situation, what is the resulting trust?
Between New York and you.
Right. And who's the trustee?
The
You all,
sure.
So you're supposed to be the trustee. That's what they were trying to get me in court as. But then when I
Which
sent the paperwork, I declared the beneficiary status, right? Specially appearing, right? Private. The beneficiary is private. The trustee is public. So as soon as I established I was the beneficiary, guess who the trustee is?
clerk of the court.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. And so it changed everything. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, we'll set a new court date when it was like, oh, be here tomorrow or we're taking your license. It's just fucking like you can't make this shit up, right? So this is the thing is that like when I did that, when I did so the first thing is this, right? So let's go back to this stuff. So let's go back to this part. Come on, go away. There we go. All right. All right, here. This is what I sent first. Notice the right to rescission, right? Under the commercial code, Ulster Town Court, 1st of May 2025, alleged traffic citation. I, Kent Stark, attorney in fact for Kent Stark, do hereby give formal notice and right to rescind and applied. So basically, I'm telling them I'm rescinding this, and then you send them the actual ticket you got, and you put rescission in red over the cross. If you want to put other like things on it like I did, go ahead, but you don't have to. So that's the first thing that happens. Then they send this, and then my response was these things. Okay. And then if they don't budge that way, then you got to go with the big hitter here, right? So, long story short, you get a ticket because everybody gets them. Within 72 hours, rescission it and send a letter with it. And it just basically write a rescission, blah, 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 you know, and then you're going to get some kind of communication back. Now, I've showed you guys before the seatbelt one that was just dismissed. They didn't even mess with it because it's not worth any money, right? It's like $10, right? So a lot of times that's what they'll do. But if they try to keep escalating like this, and I think this only escalated because I was already fighting with another town court over the eviction, right? And so then I rearranged their thinking, right? And so I'm not tooting my own horn yet because I haven't like got it dismissed yet, but like they made a drastic left turn, right? And most of this, yes, it's paperwork, but it's how you carry yourself. It's how you talk to them, right? Like, do your job or I'm going to turn you in on an Article 78 mandamus. They don't like that because as soon as you file a mandamus, all of a sudden there's this big wig judge up in the main city of the county, and he's like telling you what's up. Like, they don't want to hear that. Clerks don't want to be told what to do. Right. And so, you just got to be able to carry yourself, but you can't be like, you got to be careful not to be like threatening. Go ahead, Tully.
Yeah, Ken, I just wanted to make a couple of points. When you talking about the special appearance, that appearance, that term there is more for, I guess, the fiction because ghosts appear, and so I like to use special visitation,
Yeah.
which is more for like the living man.
So the
And
the issue is that is special, right? They don't really like, in this movement, everybody's always like talking about colors of ink and different things like that. But the truth is that carrying yourself right and being and knowing the difference between general and special is much more impacting than, I mean, some people say appear, some people say different terms, ghost appear, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you get the response that you want, then what changed, right? What information did you change from the last time you talked to them that made them act differently? That's the things that you got to start to notice, right? Is that like, what am I doing that's working and what am I doing that's not working? It's not like what's important, what I'm trying to convey here is that everybody's different. Their energy moves differently in different situations. So what works for me might not work for you, right? It's how you carry yourself, right? And some people may be able to say appearance and get through something the way they want. Some people might not, right? So if saying a different word than appearance works for you, then by all means do that. Um, so anyway, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing is, you file a motion, and motions can is like asking the court to grant something. Where if you file a notice, you're not asking them to grant anything. You just noticing and you're demanding them to do something.
Well, that is true, right? So in equity, you notice, but for this for this instance, I was trying to move the court. I wasn't trying to notice the court. So my intent was a motion, right? Because I wanted to move the court. Because the court doesn't move unless you move it, right? So some people like consider what I'm talking about here commingling, but you have to be able to move the court when the court needs to be moved, and you have to be able to notice the court when the court needs to be noticed. So you notice that one of the things I sent said notice and demand of XYZ. And then there was an affidavit, right? So sometimes you have to be able to move the court in order to notice. But at the end of the day, it's about how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself with that level of confidence, they're going to listen to you. If you go in there and, with a bunch of question marks above your head, that's when I've seen, actually, no, I haven't seen it. I have heard of different gurus talk about how they walked in the chambers and the judge says, uh, what can I help you with? And they started stuttering, and then the judge just shut the door. Like it was like, oh, he's not ready, out. Yeah, it's fucking funny. Like I've had people tell me stories that the judge just took his robe off and walked off the podium and came down and shook their hand. I've had people, there's all kinds of different stories, but the truth is that if you see the judge at Panera Bread and he walks up to your table and talks to you about a case, that's Chambers. Anything, judge is 24/7, okay? Anytime a judge is communicating with you where they're not in their robe and up on their podium, that's Chambers. That's equity. That's why they don't talk to anybody. So, anyway, more questions.
So it's really about the sequence of the documents that you have submitted that actually makes you in a position that you're in, because you didn't file motion before anything else that was filed.
No,
You
a bunch
filed,
of
first of
notices.
all, notices, yeah.
Yeah.
You noticed them, you basically rebutted their assumptions, and only afterwards, when they started stuttering, you sent them a motion to dismiss
Hmm.
because they really didn't have a jurisdiction over you. So you actually put them at the offense, at the defense, because they were trying to defend their case now against you, and now they have to rethink the whole thing. That's why they rescheduled it. So, but they haven't dismissed the case, right? They just agreed to
No, and
reschedule it, right?
no, so my next thing I'll send is demand for settlement of account.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So if
Yeah.
they do not send you any further correspondence, I guess they acquiesced your request, right?
Right. But if I get correspondence, then I'll demand for a settlement
Mm. And how would that usually go?
because I'm the beneficiary, right? So I've established now I'm the beneficial owner, beneficial title holder. And so that's why their attitude changed because they don't have jurisdiction over living human beings. And so now they're trying to, what they're going to do is they're going to try and get me to acquiesce to another date, right? And that's how they get you in contract again. Oh, you're the
Hmm.
trustee. You agreed to another date.
So you're not planning on filing any GSA forms with them or
No,
pay for it. You're
not
just
a
gonna deny them entirely.
$180 traffic ticket. No, I wouldn't go through all that pain in the ass. GSA forms actually, it's that process really doesn't work. I did it on two court cases, and all I had in the end, I had to fucking claim the bond so that they didn't get 100 million. It's just the GSA thing, like, whoever owns the bonds owns the case. So another a bunch, there's a whole group talking about CUSIP numbers, about if you can get the CUSIP for your court case, then you can take over the bonds. Well, you already own the bonds. You don't have to get a CUSIP and you don't have to do all that crap to take over anything. You already own it. Do a double B. We talked about this in another meeting, you know. Claim your bonds, do a double B. You don't have to go through that CUSIP shit and like, you know, that's how you do it. And then all of a sudden there'll be $60 million on your transcript. So the GSA thing, that was something Gene Keating was teaching, but they changed, that's the thing. Whenever a guru comes up with something that works, they just rewrite laws, right? So it's not that stuff doesn't work. It's that they just move stuff around, that they just circumvented that environment, right? And you got to be persistent, right? Look at what I did. Look at all the shit I sent in like 4 days. And finally they were like, oh yeah.
But the beginning of the whole process was you actually rescinded the contract within 72 hours, right?
Yep.
Before all this was happening.
Yep.
Okay. So it's important to know the sequence of filing paperwork and how you do it so that you are on the
Yeah,
right
that's
track.
first thing. First thing is you rescission it with a letter, and then you wait for them to contact you, and then they'll contact you. And if they do that plea thing, then you have to like tell them, you know, I demand to see proof that I filed a plea.
Now, does that have to be 72 hours like post dated within 3 days, or they
Well,
have to
yeah,
have,
it's within 3 days of getting the ticket.
I mean, you got to send it out, right? Post dated 3 days. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean,
you want the certified mail number to be within 72 hours of getting the ticket. Or you can just take a red Sharpie, write rescission on it, and go drop it off at the courthouse. I mean, I always use mail because it's contract.
72 hours, are we talking about business days? Let's say you got it on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it'd be like Wednesday and next week.
Oh, okay, so you count business days. Got
Right.
it. And in this case, you didn't send a bill of complaint in equity with anything with stamps and then any of that stuff. You didn't even want to in chambers hearing. You just wanted to question the jurisdiction and challenge it and make them prove that you actually entered that plea.
Well, they shouldn't even have had, it shouldn't have been even on a calendar.
Hmm.
Once you rescission it within 3 days, it shouldn't even be on a calendar.
So they ignored your first
Yeah.
initial response. That's why you went through the notices
Yeah.
afterwards. I got it.
Yeah, and like I said, like start putting all these books I'm giving you guys into some kind of AI so that you can do this on your own. Because all you'd have to do is upload your ticket into AI and it'll tell you what to do.
Mhm.
Tells you exactly how to write shit and whatever. And then you got to kind of read it over. Sometimes they say something stupid like, "Oh, New York law says blah blah blah." I'm like, I'm not just under the jurisdiction of New York law, right? Under trust framework and equity principles, that's what I'm under. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be reliant on my trust. I'm not trying to be a straw man, you know? And so you got to like and sometimes you have to like even say the book. You have to say, okay, according to book XYZ that I uploaded, how do I handle this ticket? And then I'll say, oh, according to this book, this is how you do that. But according to New York law, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You got to say that. I don't give a fuck about New York law. Just tell me what the book says to do.
Would you advise us to purchase like the American Jurisprudence edition 2 that has like forms of pleadings and practice or anything like that for
Well,
just learning the forms, or would you
here, let me
just
show
employ
you.
AI for all that?
I'll show you what I got. Now, these are, I mean, this is just what I do all day. Like, this is how I come up with this stuff is, is I do this all day, look for books. All right, you see that? Those are my books. These are all in AI. Okay, so this is Benedict. Here's Bovier's law. Here's crafting a bill of equity, law of suretyship, Georgia Constitution. This one here I just got today. This one's pretty cool. Oh, it's going to take forever to open. Um, so you do all that, right? And so let me show you what happened. Mm, where the fuck oh. All right. So I went into here, I uploaded the first book, The Law, Surety, Ship, and Guarantee, third edition from 1905. Then it tells you, you know, and I said, please read and commit to memory. And then this work is now integrated with the Standing Foundation. And then it tells you what other books it it meshes with. So then I did the next one, Handbook on the Law of Trust by George Bogert, freaking 1921, right? Then the next one, General Law of Suretyship. And the next one, Law of Suretyship. And the next one, Handbook on Common Law Pleadings. And then the next one, Law of Subrogation, right? The last, so then the last one was um, my trust. So I uploaded the trust, right? And then I said, okay, like go through all of it. It went through each book and said, this is what your trust is doing according to this book. And this is what it's doing according to this book. And it goes through the whole thing. So it's like, you know, it's not worth going out there and like having to pick through all these books and like learn jurisprudence or like whatever, right? Like use your AI, put all your books into AI, and when you got an issue, ask it what to do. And then if it's not giving you the answer that you want, then say, okay, well, according to this book, what does it say? Oh, well, that's different, right? So as soon as you go into like suits and chancery, rather than what the law says in Georgia or New York, it gives you a whole different framework, right? So you got to be able to ask the right questions and so on. But just pick one of either the Gemini or the Grog or the X, right? Grok, I think it's called. Um, Everybody's talking about the Elon Musk one right now. It's the X AI or whatever. And it's because it doesn't have the framework so ChatGPT is written from the deep state. So it's all
Uh,
the
they're
all,
saying if you buy Perplexity, I think it comes with four others, including ChatGPT, for a similar price, like for $20 a month.
yeah,
It
that's
will
what I
come with
paid.
Perplexity and all other four ones, main ones, ChatGPT and some other ones. I don't remember which ones. And they're suggesting to do that instead of paying for each one of them $20. And because
Yeah.
it becomes a little costly.
Well, I'm told the Grok or the X one is the best because they don't have all that deep state framework. They don't have that, like they don't default to the law,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
right? That's what so ChatGPT defaults to the law. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to talk your way around it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
didn't used to be like that. It was like Chat GPT 4.0. It would automatically use everything you had uploaded. It wouldn't go to the law side of it, right? It used to say, oh, yeah, this process and that process works, this and do that. And then all of a sudden it changed. So like now I have to like move, but I have so much shit in mine right now. I probably have 50 to 100 books in mine. So to change right now would be I'd have to like rewrite everything. So I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to stick it out. But if you're starting out and you haven't done it yet, go to Gemini or Grok or X. X is it's the Elon Musk Twitter AI. So just
So
research
here's the
it,
really
figure out which one, and then just upload your shit into it.
here's a good suggestion when it
Yeah.
comes to that. Most people haven't heard of something called OpenClaw, but it actually uses it. It will. It's not restricted because it's local to your own computer. Yeah. So you have like something like your own server, and it learns things that you want it to learn, and it uses
Mhm.
all the different models of all the AI, which ChatGPT is pretty good and all that, but um there's no restriction because it's your own AI system. So I suggest if you're really interested in this part, I found it out from a friend of mine in Europe, apparently, and a guy in Austria created it, and they just sold out to ChatGPT. So they're going to change it at some point, but you can still get the program.
Mhm.
Um, and it's really it. I think that everybody who's interested in doing that should look at OpenClaw. Yeah, just
So
look
there's
it up.
another gal on Facebook. Her name's Lee Daniel. She's been promoting this other group. I don't know. They charge, I don't know. I just don't pay for to join groups like that. But um, they have this whole AI system that'll let you like research CUSIPs and like court cases and shit. So theirs gets a little deeper, but like I don't see the relevance of CUSIPs, right? Like you don't, I know what they are, but I'm just saying that like you don't need a CUSIP number to file a 1099-B or a double B or a B in a miscellaneous. What you need to do is you got to have your SPC in order and you got to have your individual banker EIN, and then you can do all this crap. And you don't have to have CUSIP numbers. You can create your own. That's what every time I tell you to go get a registered mail number, that's a CUSIP, right? We're trying to be private. That means you create your own registration. You're registering with yourself, right? I'm not trying to operate under somebody else's registration. The reason why courts have to use CUSIP is because they're public. And a public entity has to use a public CUSIP. So they have to go to CUSIP.com and they have to register the bonds. You can find all your bonds. You just go to, you can go to Treasury Direct and you can search for EE bonds on there and you'll find the savings bonds for your court case. Just put your case number in there and all of a sudden the bond from the case will pop up. And it's always says 5,000, but it's actually like 50 million, right? Because you got to add, you got to add more stuff to it, right? So I don't know. I haven't like all of the remedies that I've gotten through everything that I've done. I've never used CUSIPs, so I don't know. Maybe that's something I need to look into down the road here. I don't know.
Ken, the last Zoom that you did that was for the mentorship, did you upload that one yet?
No,
Okay.
no, I haven't done any of that because um, my information has been leaked and was out on some fake group. So I'm trying to kind of corral everything before I start posting more content. So when I get that figured out, I'll have it posted on everything's going in the classroom. Like I'm going to do less posting on Telegram and put everything in the classroom. And
That's why.
so the Google Classroom, I don't know, what is there, a dozen classes in there now?
Yeah,
So,
I don't think I got that one. I don't know. Nobody pointed me to that one, I don't think.
well, it's in the Google Classroom that's how you do the lessons. So if
Oh,
you're in the
only the
mentor
first.
group and you're doing the lessons, you got to go to the Google Classroom to do the lessons.
Okay. Okay, I got you.
All right.
Um,
And so there's
only
videos,
the
and then I used to use
only
this thing called Quip, but the Google Classroom works a lot better. I like it better anyway.
Is Google Classroom more secure?
Yeah, well, kind of, but the thing with Telegram is there's just so many people moving around. It's just there's so many people trying to um, get get information, on Telegram because that's where everybody's taking this information from the movement to, and it's just it's just too easy, you know, to get out there. So I'm starting to implement some different stuff. The thing is that most of my content, the actual stuff in the content is, there's 100 gurus out there putting out the same information. But the main thing that is my intellectual property is how I put it together, right? Nobody is putting together what I put together. Nobody's connecting the different trusts and the different numbers and the different things. They're all talking about, oh, you got to be a sole proprietor, or oh, you got to file a 1040, or oh, you got to do this. But I'm like showing everybody how to put it all together, how it all links, right? It isn't that there's 1,000 different processes, there's one process, and every single thing that everybody's doing is connected. But you got to know how to connect it because that's what they do. When some guru figures something out and they go give them a couple $1 million to shut up, then they just blow holes in it. And so everybody just kind of like, they just kind of move on to something else, right? But the truth is that you got to find the bridge. You got to bring it together,
So
right?
how can you find the intellectual property theft on like Telegram or other platforms? Can you complain to somebody? Can you
Oh
can
no,
you somehow block them?
I'll just connect if I look deep enough, I'll find out who's leaking or who stole it.
So can
And
you go after them?
yeah, it depends on who it is.
Mm.
Like if it is who I think it is, then yeah, there's a contract.
Oh, that's right. The contract that we signed, you can actually hold us responsible to it, and then that
Yeah.
will create a legal loophole, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing is that like, you know, I have it set up so that, you guys, if you're paying for it, right? Consideration is passed, so title passes. So if you have paid for it through your contract with me, then that property, when you put ink to it, becomes your intellectual property. It's not about people that have paid for it. It's about the people that are taking stuff that they haven't paid for, that they're stealing my time. That's where the issue comes in. That's the fulcrum of what is happening. And it's also about intent, right? So let's just say, Alex, that you got a bunch of information from me on how to write a trust, and then you got your wife together and you showed her how to do it. Is that is that a violation of your contract?
Sort of. I would
No,
say
it's
sort of.
not.
No.
It's not because you paid for it
Mm.
and then you took it and you created an instrument and then you took that information and you went to your wife and you taught her how to do it. That's not that's the ink on the paper is your intellectual property.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like set it up on Scribd and share with everybody. And that would be a breaking of contract.
Well,
And plus, it
it
wouldn't
depends
benefit
what it
me
is.
because it
Like
will penetrate the process.
if you're sharing Gene Keating's information on Scribd, even though you got it from me, that's not illegal, right?
No,
But
I'm
if
saying whatever we got from you, actually, or whatever we paid for, I wouldn't share it with anybody. First of all,
well, yeah, and
it's
that's the
it's
thing.
it's
It's like
gonna kill the process, because if too
right,
many people get their hold on it and then misuse it, and get themselves in trouble, then the whole thing is just useless from
right.
then on.
Right. So this is what like I want to teach teachers, right? I want to get you guys to the point where you like know this information so well that you can not only navigate through court cases and whatever, but you could actually like teach your own people how to do it. But what I'm not okay with is people nefariously or with ill intent is taking information and putting it out there in a way that is intended to um, diminish the process that I teach. That's what that was about, is that somebody was trying to put the information out there and then defame the direction that we go in this company and with this group. And that I'm not okay with,
It's like
right?
slander.
And that's the problem. Yeah, it's slander and whatever. And it's yeah, I know, jealousy and whatever, like I get why it happens, but I'm just trying to lock a few things down because not because I'm trying to like guard the gate on information. It's just about like, you know, I just don't want some stuff being in the public. I don't want it in the public because as soon as it gets too public, then the IRS changes the process and then it doesn't work anymore. Right? It's just it's not about messing, it's not about screwing me over. You screw yourself over by putting shit out in the public. And they're like, and that's why I created a mentor group. And that's why I put the information out privately in the mentor group is because it's private, right? They can't come at you and say, "Oh, you're publicly putting this information out." So, that's the thing is that I'm trying to protect my energy and I'm trying to protect your energy, your stuff so that people aren't just handing out your stuff to everybody. And so anyway, as soon as I get that locked down, I'll post some more videos in the classroom.
In all fairness, I mean, your wife, like my wife, I mean, we're one flesh. So, I mean, anything I teach to her should be just fine. I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't you
and
say so?
that's the
Un
thing. Like I want you guys to do that. I want you to like feel confident in what you're doing and then bring your family into it.
unless
Yeah,
your wife is protesting everything you do and says you're gonna go to
yes,
prison,
I
Yeah.
understand that too.
then you don't want to share that
Well,
information with her.
she sounds like a fairly normal wife.
Oh
Yeah, I
my,
don't think so.
don't
I'm
even
trying to
get me
teach her
started.
stuff, and she's resistant.
No, no. There's
It's
an old
like, oh,
joke. What is
again,
it?
that can't star guy, man. You
What's
listen
that
to
old
that guy
joke?
all the
It
time.
says, if a tree falls in the if a tree falls in the woods and my wife's not there, is it still my fault?
It's always your fault.
It's always your fault.
That's it.
Oh my God, this is the best. So funny. Anyway, you guys got any more questions about the stuff I put out? I hope that I don't know, I just thought it was kind of funny how the whole thing went down and I want you guys to like be able to kind of see how it works, right? How you get results, right? I
Yeah,
didn't
these
even go
things
to court.
these things are very helpful. Like remember that IRS letter that we discussed,
Yeah.
861C? I just got one, so I already know how to respond to it just
Yeah.
because we went over it. So it's all very practical.
Yeah, and I was
That's why I
just in the
appreciate
IRS
these.
office last week. I was
Wow.
in front of an IRS agent last week. So trust me, I'm not doing anything illegal or they'd have put me in cuffs. They knew exactly who I was. The guy looked at my file and he looked at me and he was like, I'm supposed to lecture about all this stuff, but I think you know what you're doing. Okay. Like, this is how you know that you're on the right path. When you got an IRS agent, not, I mean, everybody says, oh, you're going to go to prison, right? But I was sitting there. I mean, this building that I went to the IRS offices is got, they got politicians, they got senators in there, they got IRS, they got ATF, they got every single kind of federal law enforcement on the planet in this building. Trust me, if you were breaking the law, there is somebody there that would have arrested you. But I was there and they didn't. He basically gave me a compliment. So that's it. Like when you're acting right and you're moving right through everything, then you're going to get the right responses.
Get the right energy going out,
Yeah.
acting honorable.
Yeah.
Oh, calling ourselves friends of the IRS also makes difference, instead
Well,
of
that's, yeah, because
belligerent.
that's the intent. Our
Yep.
intent is to be a friend. We're not trying to be enemies.
Perspective.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that they think they're my friend, but whatever. They're my friend. The guy I saw was really cool. Like I like talking to him
Are we going to see a video about that or
eventually.
class? Okay.
Eventually. I'm not doing a whole lot of more IRS stuff until I get my until the checks start showing up.
Oh,
Then
when
I
are
got
we
a
going to have
bunch of
another?
videos.
When are we going to have another tax class?
Uh well we got like one more 1040 class. Y'all need to get your 1040s done and sent to me on Telegram so that I can go over them.
If we're doing them on Free Tax USA, we just print them out before we submit?
Well, you just get to a point before you submit and it'll say view.
Oh, okay.
And then you
Yeah.
open the view thing up, download it, and just send it to me, and then I'll look it over and we'll go from there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a prerequisite for that class, a
Yeah, that's what
one-on-one.
we're doing. The whole point of the Soul Prop class is that I'm teaching you how to do a 1040,
Mm-hmm. Got it.
right? And then you're gonna go through it and do it and and then I'm just gonna like check things over and then you'll be more confident doing them from there on forth.
Okay.
All right. All right, we're at an hour. Has anybody got any burning desires?
Just one question.
Yep.
So the on the because it pertains to what you were talking about before.
Yeah.
Um, is it possible to appear specially, like have a special or restricted appearance, not in paperwork? Like for example, you miss the 72 hours and you physically go to court, and you can still appear specially in
Yep.
court, not acting as surety to their fictitious entity. Is
Yep.
that right?
Yep.
So I mean, and this is all assuming that you made some sort of declaration, right?
Right. Well, I've also seen this happen where I seen a female do this, where she went in and she said, "Sir, I'm not here to debate the law. I'm here to settle the account." That's all she said, and it got dismissed.
Huh.
That's specially appearing.
I see. Okay.
It's how she carried herself. She was like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not here to argue any," because that's it. As soon as you start arguing with them, that's jurisdiction,
Right. They
right?
have some
So if
sort
you
of claim.
claim to void jurisdiction, you don't argue. You're just like, "I'm just here to settle the account."
All right.
If I get another notice, then I'll send a motion for full accounting. And then they're gonna be like, I Ken Stark specially appear, blah blah blah. I require, I voided jurisdiction and he sent me another notice, so I demand full accounting. This matter is settled.
Mhm.
Because that's the conquest, right? The conquest paradigm. The conquest is who owes the debt. Well, the beneficiary doesn't owe the debt, period, ever.
Because of the HR 192 or
Yeah, the
this.
beneficiary is owed the debt.
Uh-huh.
Who owes the debt?
The debtor.
The
Trustee,
Yeah, the debtor, but who's the debtor? In a trust
trustee,
relationship, who's the debtor?
the ins
trustee.
legis, the ins legis, the legal fiction is the debtor.
Yeah, the
Excellent.
grantor. The grantor is the debtor,
Oh, okay.
right? The trustee is the one facilitating the payment, and the beneficiary is the one getting paid.
Me.
Yeah.
Uh,
So does that make sense?
it,
Yes.
it does. Um, though the one thing I'm curious about is if you have not made any sort of declaration that you are not attached, you are not a surety for this illegal fiction here, like or recorded, um, before that process, it really doesn't have much meaning, does it? Because there's no separation between you two. Like I'm
Well,
not a secured party creditor.
paperwork is an outward action of an inward change.
Oh, okay, so it
Okay.
can. I see.
So, yeah, I mean, the paperwork needs to be done, but you can also do it by talking.
Uh-huh.
When you get deeper into the mentor group, Trey, you're gonna see I have audios and stuff on all this equity stuff, and you're gonna see it. It's gonna make more sense to you, but that's it. Like that's what we're doing is that like I was dealing with someone for a while that they thought that it was all paperwork. And they were
Hmm.
getting mad because they were doing all this paperwork and they weren't getting any remedy. And I was like, but you're dishonorable.
Uh-huh.
Like, what's the
Right.
difference? You can't, there's no like magic paperwork to make you an honorable person when you're not.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just like the paperwork's going to reflect who you are,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like I don't care. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you're a Christian or you're Wiccan or you're whatever. It's the same shit. Right? I had a friend of mine that was like teaching me this African deity system that it was really interesting, like teaching me the names. It's they're all Catholic saints,
Hmm.
right? They're all Catholic saints. All of these deities, these African deities are all Catholic saints, right? And it's because they had to hide in Catholicism because of the
Hmm.
international slave trade, right? And but what's interesting about it is it's the same, right? The name that they use is Saint Anthony, Saint Michael, Saint Peter, Saint whoever, right? It's all the same shit. So if you're a dishonorable piece of crap, it's going to come through no matter what you do, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of paperwork or whatever, you know. And it's just like it's 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 like just get this right. Get your heart right, right?
Yeah.
You can't get in the you mean all this is about biblical and it's all of this is about scripture, right? And God's word says things specifically about how things are to happen, right? So you cannot get into kingdom if you don't have a heart for God. And
And
you
the kingdom of heaven is among us.
it's
It's
in
here
you.
now.
It's in you.
Yeah, it's in you. It's everywhere. It's like you are in it.
I heard
It's
this actor the other day. I don't know, it's this meme on freaking TikTok. And the guy's sitting there and he's like with this really hot like actress and she's sitting next to him. And this guy is like, when you learn life comes from you and not at you. And she just like her eyes just like bulges out of her head. But that is the most profound statement I've ever heard anybody, especially somebody out of Hollywood, right?
Yeah, tell
Life
that to a
comes
narcissist.
life comes from you, not at you.
That's
Right?
right.
It's beautiful, right? But that's what it is. The kingdom of heaven is in you. And what
Yep.
God's waiting for you to do is to pull that out. Put the kingdom around you,
Mhm.
right? It's not a destination, right? But that's the thing. Like
Agreed.
no amount of paperwork is gonna get you in the kingdom
Sure.
because you're already there.
Yeah. Yes.
God
Yeah.
granted you the kingdom when he created you. Like it's in the Buddha. I don't know if you ever follow anything about Buddha, but the
For
Buddha, the
sure.
original Buddha, was under the acacia tree, right? And he's like laughing hysterically, right? After 12 years of prayer, he's laughing hysterically. And he's laughing hysterically because he found out that he was already enlightened and that all he had to do was stop. The only thing he had to do was stop, and he would have gotten it. And it took him 12 years to figure out he had to stop looking for enlightenment because he was already enlightened. All of us are already enlightened beings. We are already the most profound version of ourselves that exists on the planet right now. You
Even
have
the
to
earliest
realize it.
Christianity says the same thing.
Yeah, all you have to do is realize it.
Yeah.
The realization for your divine spirit is is what enlightens you. And then you realize it's always been there, right? It's not a new thing for you,
Mhm.
right? It's just that you were asleep, right? Truly awoke.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what this all is. Like this is what I do, this is what I teach, this is what I'm trying to get you all to do is to just see who you are because that's all that matters. It's not paperwork, it's not money, it's not the IRS, it's not anything. The only thing I want you to do is I want you to realize who you are. And once you do that, it's nothing but rainbows from there on out.
Agreed.
So, all right. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming. Again, this is recorded to be on YouTube. I'm gonna have to edit some stuff out, but in general, this is meeting will be on YouTube. And thanks for all for coming. I hope that I helped you guys out tonight.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, Ken.
Later.